Okay, we come, these two examples, I'm going to focus on the multiplication and the division of algebra fraction. So multiplication and division behave very much like cancelling as well. Okay, so there's a lot of cancellation. Again, there will be factorization that helps you with the cancellation. So the same logic, you cancel when it is multiplied. If it's not multiplied stated, you got to factorize first. Okay, so very simple one will be like this. Okay, but the tendency is right, some of it will be very messy, for the cancellation. So my trick for dealing with this kind of question to prevent careless will be you do a numerator times numerator first. So you do a top times top first. So don't cancel first. It's actually very messy for you to cancel. Okay. At the most, you cancel number. Okay, I will say at the most you cancel number, but don't cancel anything else. So we try to be organized first in the top times top. So when you're doing the top times top, you try to organize them. So when I try to do the top times top, I try to organize. I'll organize in terms of number first, and then I will try to organize in terms of the alphabet. So I try it to be alphabetical order. So in the denominator, I also try the same thing. So I will focus on the number first. 3 times 3 will give you a 9. Then I focus on the A, B, C. Can you see I try to arrange them in order so that it will be organized for you. So that your cancellation can be organized. Or else, when you make mistake, actually I got no way of telling what mistake you make. If your final answer doesn't match, so I will just mark you across. I usually cannot see where your cancellation go wrong. You yourself sometimes also can't see. So the strategy is you do a top times top, bottom times bottom. And when you do the top times top, you organize first. You organize to facilitate your own cancellation. Okay, so the next one, okay, multiplication, like I say, is very similar to cancellation. So you look around for the numerator and denominator. So if you look right, so there are two numerator, there are two denominator, out of which only this one can be factorized. So this one I can factorize out a 2. So I hope now you're fast enough to see that this is a 3x squared and 2y squared. So in fact, you don't need to go through the steps. You can mentally tell the answer. So like I say, maybe I will just do cancellation of numbers. So in the numerator, there will be 3x squared over 3x minus 2y. And the factorized part, this part that I have factorized, it will be a 2x plus 3x plus 2y, sorry. So 3x plus 2y and a 3x minus 2y. Okay, so then I look for, if everything is in a multiplication stage, so I look at the bracket, I can cancel. I can cancel one of the x as well. And that's it. I couldn't cancel anymore. So look at the top times top. Top times top. You will get 6x. The bottom, you're left with a y. And that's it. And that's your answer. So It's very same thing to the simplification. So you just have to factorize correctly. Okay, so do your factorization column. Okay, you will do it for 2x plus 4. You will do it for 2x squared, 9x squared minus 1. So hopefully you can tell that it's this. And do it for x squared plus x minus 2. So again, hopefully you can tell that this is the answer. You don't need to do much and you can mentor this already. Then I will change out everything. So everything change to bracket. So you got a lot of products everywhere. And in fact, you look very carefully. This can be cancelled. Then again, you look carefully. Your x plus 2 can be cancelled. So if you do a top times top, you are left with 2 bracket 3x minus 1. The bottom, you're left with x minus 1. That's it. So it's cancel, top times top, bottom times bottom. But your factorization has to be correct. So what happens when that is a divide? If it's a divide, you can always change it to multiplication. Flip it over. Flip it over. So this time around, if you look, 3a plus 6 can be factorized. So as I flip, I also factorize. And this part, you could have factorized as well. So when you factorize, you will get double bracket. So that will be the double bracket. And look at the cancellation. This can be cancelled with this. And the a plus 2 can be cancelled. So if you go for numerator times numerator, it's just a 1 times 1. Denominator times denominator, you are left with a 3 with the bracket. So it's very much the same thing. Cancel whatever that's left. So for a divide, please flip it over. So the same thing happens here. So this is a divide. I'm going to flip it over. Okay, so as I flip it over, this is a double bracket. Don't try to expand out. If you expand out, you do not have the multiplication. So I flip over and I try to factorize this. So I will get a 3 plus x. I will get a 3 minus x. And I'm going to look for cancellation. The bracket is a good one. One chunk will disappear. Okay, here I can cancel a z. I can also cancel the number. Okay, if it gets a bit messy already, stop your cancellation. Do a top times top. Focus on the top. So you get a 5x, y, and a bracket. For the bottom, you get a 4, you get a y cube, you get a bracket. So after you do that, you see, can you cancel the bracket? If you can't cancel, leave it alone. But do you realize that you actually got your y cubed to cancel? So eventually your final answer is 5x with a bracket, and you got a 4y squared with the bracket. That's it. You don't have to complete your cancellation in the halfway. So if let's say you find that your working is already getting messy, so don't. So sometimes I just cancel a little bit, then I go on to the next line. Then I cancel a bit more. So you cancel slowly. No point canceling everything and then you don't get the final answer. So like I say, there's no point if your final answer doesn't match. If you show it to me, I will tell you I also can't see. I can't see what is wrong with your cancellation. All I can look out for is whether you factorize correctly or not. Okay, so multiplication and division behave very much like the simplification. You keep canceling. So the same thing happens for this here. Okay. Okay. These two, I'm gonna help you to get it through. I'm gonna hint you a little bit, then you can be trying. Okay. So like for this one, okay, it's a double bracket. If you do your double bracket, you will get a 9a squared b squared. For the divide, you flip over. You flip over, square root 36 will be a 6c. You flip over. Then I want you to try the top times top, bottom times bottom. Okay, then you try the top times top, bottom times bottom. But for this one, maybe I will cancel the 9 because the 9 is a very easy cancellation. Okay, so I want you to try and see what happens. Okay, here for part B, there's also a lot of cancellation. And there is also a divide. Okay. So I'm going to handle the divide first. So I will do the divide by flipping over first. Okay, then there are so many numbers. So if you are worried, what you can do is you do the first two fractions. So you handle the first two. Okay, so I can cancel number first. So you handle the first two. Top times top, you will have a 9a 5 b 4 d. And the bottom, I got a 5. Okay, I try to be organized. I got a b square first, c, and then d. So after I handle the first two, okay, the 9 can be cancelled. The 5 can be cancelled. Okay, so I'm going to leave it to you. Do a top times top, bottom times bottom, and see whether you can get the answer or not. So for these two questions, you will need to try. After I help you simplify to this stage, will you be able to do a top times top, bottom times bottom, and then in a very organized way get the answer? The difficult part is on this type of question, which a lot of people couldn't do. Sometimes it does appear as exam. So for this, right, you need to think of the fraction as a divide. It will be something like a numerator divide by a denominator. And I'm going to make same denominator. So for the numerator, I'm going to try to make same denominator. The same denominator will get you into a single fraction. And then the divide, again, I got to flip it over, do the reciprocal. And you look carefully, this is exactly the same for you to cancel. So that's it. So both questions have the same idea. So you think about numerator divide by denominator, and in the first bracket, make same denominator, because the same denominator can give you one single fraction. One single fraction divided by one single fraction. So once you get to the one single fraction divided by one single fraction, flip it over, flip the reciprocal, and you see whether you can factorize or not. Are you fast enough to see that there's an x plus y, x plus 1, and an x minus 1? If you do, you will realize that this can be cancelled. Then you're left with x squared over x and an x plus 1. Top times top, bottom times bottom. But this can be cancelled again. So eventually you're left with this. Okay, so this one is the more difficult one. So for the first two, you see whether you can organize yourself and get the answer. So multiplication and division eventually goes back to the basic idea of cancelling. As long as it's multiply, you can be able to cancel.